Thank you all so much. It is truly an overwhelming moment. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher yatzar et ha'adam b'chokhmah, u'v'ravo nekavim nekavim, chalulim chalulim. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who formed humans with wisdom and created within them many openings and cavities. It is obvious in the presence of your glorious throne that if one of them were ruptured, or if one of them were blocked, it would be impossible to exist, to stand in your presence. Baruch atah Adonai, rofei kol basar mafli la'asot. Praised are you, God, who heals all flesh and performs wonders. 5 weeks ago, I entered the operating room at Medical City Hospital. In the room next to me lay my donor, already in surgery so that one of his kidneys could be transplanted into my body. 5 weeks later, my donor is in excellent condition, and I am alive and apparently quite well because of his courageous act. There are no words to adequately express the gratitude that my family and I have for the individual who stepped forward to grant me a new lease on life. The idea that a person would willingly give up an organ in order to save my life is beyond comprehension. I am now alive with the possibility of years because of the courage of one person, a mitzvah gedolah mamash. At this moment, I stand on this bima for the very first time since my surgery in the presence of my beloved congregation, members of the Dallas Jewish community, in the presence of my fellow rabbis. I'm overwhelmed by all of the blessings I have been granted in my life. My heart overflows with gratitude for the miracle of healing, for God's restorative power, for the wisdom and the skill of my doctors and surgeon, for the care and concern of my congregation and so many in the Jewish community that reached out to me, for my family's love and support, and for the goodness of human beings to grant the gift of life to another. When one faces the possibility of debilitating illness or even death, life takes on sharper focus. And I am now more focused than ever on the great undertaking placed before me. As I assume the responsibility and the privilege of leading the Rabbinical Assembly, I am deeply honored and humbled by the trust you, my colleagues, have placed in me. I pray that I will be worthy of your trust. I want to thank Rabbi Elliot Dorff for having installed me. Elliot is one of the true treasures of the conservative movement. Elliot was on my rabbinical school interview. Elliot, you're responsible for all of this. And ever since that interview in 1982, you have been a mentor, a teacher, and a friend. Thank you so much for making tonight so meaningful. I want to express my deepest appreciation to all those who participated in tonight's installation, especially my family, Rabbi Moshe Pomerantz, Chazan Elisa Pomerantz-Burrow, and Raquel, my Eshet Chayil, my life partner, whose beauty and grace and love fills my life with joy and song. Raquel, you're always there for me and our family. I love you with all my heart and all my soul. Members of my family are present tonight. My wonderful children, Benji and Eliana. Yoni is still in Israel on Nativ, and I know that he's here in spirit. My dad, Simon Gershon, my brother, Rabbi, my niece, Callie, my mother-in-law, Kay Pomerantz. It's so wonderful to have my family with me. And I recall my beloved mother, Charlotte Gershon of blessed memory, whose love cradles my soul and sustains me every day. And it means so much to me that friends from Shaare Zedek in Detroit, my first congregation, are here, as well as my colleagues from the Dallas area, rabbis, lay and professional leaders of the institutions of Jewish life of the Dallas community. I want to recognize my teacher, Dr. Mika Goodman, founder of the Ein Prat Beit Midrash and a member of the faculty of the Shalom Hartman Institute. I'm eternally grateful to my congregation, Shereth Israel, for allowing me the opportunity to serve the Jewish people and the conservative movement as president of the Rabbinical Assembly. Shereth Israel is a remarkable synagogue. The members of this congregation possess authentic warmth, a generosity of spirit and giving, and a level of caring that is unique in congregational life. I am blessed to be your rabbi and your friend. Your prayers, cards, emails, texts, words of encouragement uplifted my spirit and aided in my healing. And my love for each of you knows no bounds. And your presence here tonight in such large numbers brings honor not only to me, but to our congregation, to the Rabbinical Assembly, and to the conservative movement. I love all of you. I want to take this opportunity to thank our sisterhood for sponsoring the dessert reception that will follow tonight's program. I also want to express, on behalf of the Rabbinical Assembly, our appreciation to the Federation of Greater Dallas for underwriting tonight's Texas barbecue for the rabbis, and to Glazers for providing the liquor and spirits for our convention, Jeffrey Collinger and his team at Spice of Life. Thank you for all that you've done. The Rabbinical Assembly could not accomplish its goals without the largesse of those who believe in our cause. Please note the list of donors in your program who gave so generously to underwrite our convention and the vital work of the Rabbinical Assembly. I cannot thank you all enough. I'm blessed at Shereth Israel to work with an outstanding team, Chazan Rebker, Rabbis David Singer, Adam Rothman, and Shira Wallach, our ritual director, Avi Mitzner, Kim West, our COO, Dina Eliezer, our educational director, and our talented professional staff. And a shout out to the one person who keeps me organized and sane, and that's our amazing assistant, Teresa Hurt. Planning a convention is no small task, and Jonathan Birkin and David Rosen, you and your committee have done a superb job. And to Rabbi Ashira Konigsberg, Toda Rabbah, for the hundreds of hours you and your team have worked to make this convention a reality. We thank you all very much. The RA is led by an outstanding team of rabbis and professionals who work countless hours on behalf of the members of the Rabbinical Assembly, the conservative movement, and the Jewish people all around the world. Led by our outstanding, indeflatable executive director, Rabbi Judah Schoenfeld, along with Rabbis Elliot Schoenberg, Bill Lebo, Carol Leviton, and Shira Konigsberg, and the entire RA professional support staff. We have much to be proud of. I want to recognize Rabbi Joel Myers, our Executive Vice President Emeritus, who is with us. We love you, Joel, so much. It's so wonderful to have you here. We have been truly blessed by the visionary leadership of Rabbi Jerry Skolnick. Jerry, I do not know of anyone who has poured his heart and soul into the work of the Rabbinical Assembly as you have. You've set a high standard of leadership in which to follow. I cherish our friendship, and the RA, the conservative movement, are in your debt for all that you have done. We thank you. I'm looking forward to working closely with my dear friends and fellow officers, Rabbi Phil Scheim, Deborah Newman-Kamen, Stuart Vogel, and Harold Kravitz, and with all the newly elected members of the RA Executive Council. As I contemplate the awesome responsibility of taking on the presidency of the RA, I recall the many rabbis and teachers who made an indelible imprint on my rabbinate. But I especially need to mention Rabbi Jacob Friedman, Zichrono Livracha, my Rebbe from my home shul of Temple Beth Torah in New Jersey, Rabbi Gershon D. Cohn, Zichrono Livracha, Chancellor of JTS, for whom I was privileged to serve as his assistant, Rabbi David Hartman, Zichrono Livracha, whose passion and Torah transformed my thinking and emboldened my rabbinate. I've been blessed by the guidance of Rabbi Cass Abelson, Yibadel HaChaim, past president of the RA, and the love and the teachings of my father-in-law, Rabbi Moshe Pomerantz, Yibadel HaChaim. Abba, I could not have achieved what I have achieved in the rabbinate without your example and your counsel. What is the meaning of this hour? What is the task before us? There is no question that the conservative movement faces real and serious challenges. Some might even say that our movement is at a crossroads. Woody Allen has this small essay about crossroads, where he says, humanity is at the crossroads. One road leads to ruin and destruction, and the other road leads to anguish and pain. And then he concludes, let us hope to have the wisdom to choose wisely. We may be at the crossroads, but I refuse to be a pessimist. I'm reminded of that story of the twin brothers whose birthday is approaching, and one brother, a pessimist, the other an optimist, and their father is torn as to what to purchase for them for their birthday gift, so he seeks the advice of a psychologist who advises for the pessimist, you should get him a diamond gold-studded watch, and the optimist, you should get him a box of manure. So the father does as the psychologist suggests, and on the morning of the birthday, the brothers wake up and they find their presents, and the pessimist says to his brother, I got a fake watch, it's rhinestones, it doesn't tell time properly. What did you get? To which the optimist responds, I got a pony, except I don't know where they put it. I refuse to be a pessimist, because if you are a rabbi, your responsibility is to lead and not despair. Abraham Joshua Heschel once remarked that in the face of crisis, the masses despair, but the prophets respond. Ani lo navi v'lo ben navi. I'm neither a prophet nor the son of prophets, but I am a rav, I am a rabbi, and a rabbi must lead. A rabbi must respond to the needs of his or her generation, and if we don't, we're not rabbis, we're cowards. The Torah commands you shall follow after the Lord your God. And the Talmud asks, God is a consuming fire. How is it possible to follow after God? And the Gemara answers, follow the ways of God. And my teacher, Rabbi David Hartman of blessed memory, in one of his last public appearances, offered a different answer. Rabbi Hartman said to us, become the Aish, become the fire. Reflect God's passion, and that's what a rabbi must be, a living embodiment of religious passion, passion for the Torah, passion for the Jewish people, passion for human dignity, and passion for bringing God's presence into this world. I'm optimistic about conservative Judaism because we have within our ranks amazing, talented, and passionate rabbis who are doing remarkable and inspirational work every single day. I believe in the conservative movement because we embrace mitzvot not as coercive acts, but rather as sources of inspiration. We are a covenantal movement who teaches that to be part of the Brit, the covenant, is not an infantilizing experience, but rather an empowering one. It calls on every Jew to become partners with Hashem, with God. To be a conservative Jew means to embrace a vision of Judaism that is the antithesis of passivity. To fight injustice, to contribute to the vitality of Am Yisrael and Medinat Yisrael. To be a conservative Jew means, above all, to ascend the ladder of Kiddushah, of holiness, in the spirit of Ma'alim Bakodesh ve'emoridin. It doesn't matter where on the ladder you are, as long as you are a striving Jew, yearning to climb yet another rung. I believe in conservative Judaism because every current study has shown that conservative Jews comprise a disproportionate number of the leaders of the American Jewish community. And I don't believe it's an accident that conservative Jews lead in record numbers, federations, JCCs, Jewish Family Service, ADL, AIPAC, Israel Bonds, and the list goes on and on. To be a conservative Jew means I have a responsibility and a sacred task to be involved in Jewish life. It is conservative Judaism that made Klal Yisrael, the collective unity of the Jewish people, a sacred value in our generation. The Rabbinical Assembly is uniquely positioned to lead our movement and the Jewish people. It is the voice of the rabbinate that mediates and interprets Torah for our age. It is the rabbinate that needs to speak out on the pressing issues of the day. And our authority derives from our Torah. But being a rabbi in the 21st century is no easy task. The world is changing at a dizzying pace. The old models of family life are no longer the norm. The needs of the synagogue and what it means to create connected communities in the age of the sovereign self upends our notion of what a shul is and what it needs to become in order to speak the language of a new generation of Jews. It is the task of the RA to give rabbis the tools and the resources they need to meet the challenges of our time. And we do a lot in this regard, and I want to praise all of those efforts of my colleagues who work so hard to provide those tools. But we need to do even more. And so I offer the following. Number one, it is my goal to bring together the arms of our movement to create a concise, compelling ideology that will provide focus and vision to our lives and whether you are a rabbi in a congregation, day school, chaplaincy, a Jewish agency, or on a college campus, whether you're from Savannah or LA or Toronto, London, Beersheba, or Mexico City, you are part of a shared spiritual language and legacy. You can take pride in being part of a movement which values the legitimacy of pluralism. I remember one of Dr. Gershon Cohen's favorite stories he used to tell about Mordechai Kaplan. When Kaplan first came out with his radical and novel Siddur, Solomon Schechter summoned him and asked him to discontinue his work. And Kaplan turned to Schechter and said, "And if I don't?" To which Schechter replied, "Then you shall continue." We laugh. But to be a conservative Jew in the spirit of Schechter is to be a pluralist. We may not always agree with each other, but we rabbis need to know that we are part of a collective vision that values differing points of view, that encourages questioning and machloket l'shem shamayim, debate for the sake of heaven. And you need to know, every rabbi needs to know, that you are not alone. And the Rabbinical Assembly's task is to make sure that we are connected and that no rabbi feels alone. In our daily prayers, we recite the words, Lilmod, ulelamed, lishmor v'la'asot, ulakayem et kol divrei toratecha b'yahava. To learn, to teach, to guard, to do and to uphold the words of the Torah, b'ahava, in love. To be a rabbi means to spend your life learning Torah and teaching Torah, and in so doing, inspiring your people to live a life of Torah and to do it all be'ahava, with love. I want every rabbi to know that he or she is loved, that the work that you do matters no matter how hard it is, No matter how sometimes as frustrating it can be, you are loved, and you have the capacity to bring a love of Torah, a love for the Jewish people, and a love for God into the lives of those you lead. The Rabbinical Assembly needs to celebrate your achievements, your creativity, and your ideas. We need to establish a fund to offer grants to rabbis as seed money to foster their creativity and ingenuity, thus supporting, inspiring, and validating their vital and creative work. Number 3, we need to take bold steps to share our understanding of Judaism by sponsoring kollalim, centers of learning and outreach in communities throughout North America, indeed throughout the world, and to partner with the United Synagogue of Conservative Judaism as it seeds new kehilot in order to provide cutting-edge support for rabbis who will be building these new communities. Number 4, we need to foster a coherent conversation among rabbis to explore a more open and welcoming Judaism. We need to consider new approaches to conversion and outreach while remaining true to our understanding of halakha. Number 5, I believe it is time that we open an official office in Washington, D.C. If we are to lead, then our voice and our presence must be heard in the halls of power and policy. Number 6, rabbis must feel engaged in the work of the movement and the Rabbinical Assembly, and so we need new tools, new means of communication, new ways of empowerment so that rabbis feel connected, informed, involved, and invested in what we are doing. Number 7, the Rabbinical Assembly needs to be the convener for the arms of our movement so that we can speak with one voice and embrace a united vision. And to that end, I propose, in partnership with the seminaries, the Cantors Assembly, the United Synagogue, to embark on a major program that will take place or initiative every single year that all of us will contribute to, that will be transformative and compelling for Jews around the world, branded with the conservative movement's unique approach to Jewish life. And number 8, we need to connect in a more organic way with our colleagues in Israel, South America, and Europe, across the globe. They need to know and feel that they are part of this vision. We have much to learn from each other. And finally, all of these things take resources. The Rabbinical Assembly needs to get serious about fundraising. Not only seeking grants from foundations, but raising funds from individuals and corporations to support our vision and our holy work. Chevra, I can't do this alone. The Rabbinical Assembly leadership cannot do this alone. We need your help, we need your input, your talents, and your passion. The Gemara says that someone who lives a week without a dream is not a Jew. We are here together to dare to dream. Many years ago, Heschel coined the phrase, dreams are obligations. And I believe that the power of our dreams will be sustained by the depth of our obligations. And so I stand before you on this night and ask you to dream with me. And together we will transform those dreams into commitments. Commitments that we all will share to inspire, to lead, to give voice to our Torah, and to make a difference. This must be our task. I pray it will become our legacy. Lo alecha hamlecha ligmor, v'lo ata ben cholin lipatel mimena. The time is now. The time is short. The task is great. But you and I may not desist from it. History calls upon us to act. The Jewish people needs us to act. The Kadosh Baruch Hu expects us to act. This is the obligation of this time and of this hour. May we live up to the task. Thank you.
So with that task ahead of us, we should all get some good energy and some food and drink. It has been an evening of great joy, great vision, and a wonderful future that we look forward to. We thank our friends at Shireth Israel, and we welcome you to join us for a festive reception.